Tell me where I should be using NeoGenesis salicylic or combining it with Mandelic.
Yeah, absolutely. So funny. I'm so happy to hear you are loving the mandelic acid. I too think it's a game changer. Like, we've had so many other clinics say the same thing, and I'm like obsessed with the mandelic acid. And I typically prefer mandelic over salicylic as well. But this form of salicylic is really great. So it's 2% salicylic acid, and it's been formulated without like ester and salt forms. So it's not going to cause any added irritation to that already inflamed skin. The people I like to put on salicylic, and I typically, just depending on the grade of acne that they have, will be recommending it as a spot treatment, because sometimes someone doesn't need it over the entire face because it could possibly dry out or just cause any more irritation. So I like it for those with that non-inflamed acne. And then those that have that combination acne. So with the combination, it's a little tricky because I would use mandelic first to get that inflammation down. And then once the inflammation's under control, then I would transition them over to the salicylic more for a spot treatment. As you mentioned, it is great for that rosacea acne. And with salicylic, it's a smaller molecule, so it's going to penetrate to the skin a lot quicker than the mandelic acid, where mandelic is that larger molecule. It's going to stay on the surface of the skin.
So mandelic is a larger molecule?
Correct.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah. And that's how I kind of know how I'm going to treat someone, is really just based off that inflammation level. So the more inflamed, I'm going to go with mandelic. The less inflamed, or those just like pesky pustules, maybe that like hormonal breakout, I will spot treat with the salicylic acid. Layers really nice on top of recovery. Of course, I always tell everyone to use recovery first before anything else. And so, yeah, that's where you can use the salicylic. For me personally, if I have like a little breakout, I'll just do just the tiniest pump, rub it in, and then I will actually layer mandelic on top of it, because I'm a little more aggressive on myself than I would be on someone I'm treating. But I haven't had any irritation or anything with that. Also, with mandelic, I love it to those with that PIH, or maybe like sunspots, melasma. I really like it for those folks as well.
Do you like it underneath any of the volcanic or enzyme masks?
So I wouldn't necessarily layer it, like put that on and then apply the mask. I would cleanse the skin, apply the mask, and then once removed, then absolutely you can apply it on with that. Mm-hmm. And then the volcanic, our other newest one, love that for those with those acne concerns across the board. It's very rich in mineral content, so it's really going to help draw out those impurities on the skin. It's very soothing, surprisingly, for a volcanic ash. A clay mask, it's very soft, dries down very soft, not hard to remove. I feel like the skin is glowing when the mask comes off. It gives this hydration that you're not expecting with this type of mask. So it's also a fantastic product as well.
Have you been able to check out the volcanic ash mask?
I love it.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
You love it?
I love it. I do. I love it both in the treatment room and selling it. For some reason, I'm more in the enzyme mask in the treatment room, because I love the way that makes skin so bright, and it looks amazing. But usually I choose my more inflamed people, and I do the volcanic mask on that. I love how it looks. I have had amazing responses to your mandelic. Basically, I asked one of my clients, what do you think? And they're like, this was a game changer. One of my players, I have a professional tennis player, and it's a struggle to get him to stay clear, because he's always out, he's always sweating, no matter what sunscreen, he's always red. So this time I was like, well, maybe I'm going to make this hurt a little bit more financially. So he bought this one, but he came in a month later, I think, because he was traveling. His skin was clear. And I'm like, okay, the only difference was we switched Mandelics. And he goes, yeah, he goes, I like it a lot better. So now I'm a true believer, and we'll keep that way in stock because they really like it. Really great results.
And you said something about a rock climber.
I do. Oh my God. He is the most darling kid. And did you know rock climbing is like an Olympic sport now? Like
I do, yes.
yeah.
Pretty
Well,
impressive.
he's really good. But now can you imagine you're climbing rocks and you're wiping your face all the time and there's sweat and regardless if he's using his hands or not. He came in, and again, he was another one. He was bright red when he came in, and he wanted absolutely maybe a 0.5% to do with me. I mean, he was in there because his mom dragged him in. I could just read it. I asked his mom to leave, and I'm like, I know you didn't want to be here. So what can I do to gain your trust? Let's start out with one product. So I started him just on a gentle cleanser to relieve the inflammation. And that's something that I love about the NeoGenesis cleanser is, I don't mean to say it's like sex friendly or whatever we call each other anymore. But it's nice for a guy to use because it doesn't have a fragrance. They don't feel like a girl using it. It's neutrally packaged. So that was kind of the first 2 weeks. I just wanted him to cleanse, and then slowly added in the Mandelic. And I think I start out very specific ways to use the Mandelic. And, when he came back, he looked even better. And then I said, well, if you like this, I'll let you use it every day. And then he was like, okay. And so as time progresses, his skin is clear, and he just left for like a 2-month tour of Europe and came in and made sure he was not going to run out of the product. And that is something, come on, a teenage boy not wanting to run out of product. So when your clients can see the value that you're trying to share, that is an amazing interaction of trust and success in skincare.
Now, you also have, as I recall, at one point in time, you had 3 other categories. Who am I today kind of was the theme that you had.
Yeah.
Can you just kind of take us through that?
I see this all the time, and I love it. And I hope that one day I find the right niche, but I do, because I've worked with women my whole life in different capacities. And the first kind of archetype or woman that lives inside us is the bold. And I have several bold clients, and they're the game changers in the world. They're the ones out there. Like, I kid you not, when they come to see me, they might have just come from Syria. They might be in Ukraine at a refugee camp. They come in, and the only reason they're seeing me is their daughter's getting married, or maybe they have something that's irritating on their skin. That is it. Looks have nothing to do with it. And so I will kind of fit NeoGenesis in. The bold never wants to use more than 3 products. Like, she will never. If you give her more, actually, I start them out with 1 product, and I be very selective. And this is maybe the only time I say you can wash your face with Dove, because if I can get a product in there that's a game changer, she might come back. And I give a whole talk on this, how they're interactive with one another. But the bold typically would be a recovery. I would sell her the recovery because I'm going to get the most out of this. Even if she doesn't wash her face and she wipes it with a washcloth and puts recovery on, I'm going to get results that she's going to see and be a rock star. The next is the strategist. And a majority of people fall in the strategist, that you can be 1 to 2. You don't have to just be 1, but the strategist is a little bit more balanced. And so she does her research. And I think the biggest irritation about the strategist is when she comes, she already knows everything about everything. And so you really have to know your facts. You have to be like, okay, I know that, Mademoiselle wrote about this, but what she didn't add is this. Or, alcohol in some cases can be good. It can be a binder, so you have to kind of really kind of get them in line. But the strategist likes a plan, and they'll follow it if you can show you're smart and you have a strategy. She will follow that, and if she sees something, she's your client forever. So the strategist, you build trust slowly with what her goal is in mind. And then you have, and I'm sure we have seen the perfectionist, and she runs on anxiety, and she is very, very, very temperamental. And I actually have several perfectionists, and sometimes when they come in, like, we might get a pimple, but the pimple to the perfectionist is really devastating. And she'll just cry because she doesn't want to go out. She doesn't want to be seen. She doesn't understand how she did everything right and she still has a pimple. So she really requires a lot of love and understanding. And you have to really take yourself out of the equation to understand that this is truly just a wounded soul with a lot of anxiety. And this, you have to just nurture her through. And typically, I don't sell anything to the perfectionist, but I don't know. Sometimes I wonder, because I have to laugh. She came in probably with $3,000 worth of product. And I just looked at it and I'm like, what, where did you get all of this? Well, I was just online and I thought this. So she has a tendency to overbuy. A lot of times I sample with her and educate her and try to talk her off the fence, but I typically will tell other estheticians that I'm teaching, do not sell to her. She may be a jackpot, but 9 times out of 10, she's going to return it all because she didn't get the results today. So you really have to work with her, understand her North Star, understand where that wound is coming from, and help her kind of into the self-acceptance. And then you have the forgotten, and that can be a woman that has a husband with cancer. It could be maybe she has a child that has high needs, or she has several children that have a lot of needs, and she has learned. Actresses many times are forgotten because if they don't take the next role, they might be overlooked for another role. My entertainment people, they get injured, but they're back out on the set because they could be overlooked for the next role. So the forgotten typically puts everybody ahead of herself. And it's learning to work with these personalities and how to build the best aging plan for them that leads to the goal and the success of what they see in their mind's eye. And every line has followed after you, and people try to imitate you and maybe use certain buzzwords, but they'll never be NeoGenesis. I love NeoGenesis. I don't even think. When I think of NeoGenesis, you guys don't put out a subpar product and you don't run to market in order. So I pretty much know that if you have come up with a product, it's going to be outstanding. And I love that. You fit a great niche, and you're constantly doing the research to help educate estheticians like me. But I think you have this side, but it's also a give back side. And there is something to know, we all know someone that has struggled with cancer, and that just alone in the journey is very emotional. But to know that you're helping those that maybe can't afford something or maybe can't buy the product, that you guys are there and you're so generous